We're here with Carrie Summers of Pachacuti, whose Panama hats are designed using a blend of our traditional artisanal skills with sustainable materials. So Carrie, can you talk to us through your collection?
Yes, of course. I mean, here we're mainly showing our autumn-winter collection, which is our felt hats. And these are made in Ecuador, and we have sustainable feathers. We've only just recently started using feathers because I didn't want to use feathers in the collection until I could really assure that they were sustainable. So we're working with our local fishmonger, who's just a minute around the corner from our shop. So we go around and get a pheasant's wing and a plastic bag, which we have to pluck ourselves. But we're also working with a game estate in Scotland as well. So for some of the slightly more exotic feathers in terms of British birds, so guinea fowl for instance, these are all coming from a game estate in Scotland, so really sort of sustainable and holistic and using the whole bird. Okay. And then we also have some of our Panama hats as well, which are all hand woven by a women's cooperative in Ecuador.
Amazing. Hats are amazing, and they definitely shouldn't be saved for a bad hair day. I think they should be worn all the time. Do you have any designers that have inspired your collection?
Well, really most of our design influence comes from the bottom up, because in terms of working in fair trade, you're working with very marginalised producers, often very limited capabilities and limited raw materials. So for us it's really understanding what our producers can do, what raw materials are available to them, and a lot of our more fashion forward hats have actually come from doing a survey 3 years ago of our weavers, and because a lot of them are now 70 or 80, they have arthritis and they can't weave the really fine rollable hats which we specialise in, which might take 2 weeks or a month to weave. They'd much rather weave a more economical hat they can weave in a day or two, and also in a bright colour which they actually find easier to see and they can weave it faster. And so really that's influenced the way in which our collections moved forward, so doing some bright patterns where the weavers can see if they're making mistakes. So that's the direction, that's how the influence we take for our collections.
That's amazing. So can you tell us how it felt for you to be certified one of the first fair trade organisations?
Yes, I mean that was really exciting for us. It was an incredible amount of hard work, because not only were we the first organisation in the world to be certified fair trade by the World Fair Trade Organisation, but we had to develop a lot of the tools and the methodology, and because only 37% of our producers have actually finished even primary education, we had to create really visual ways of getting feedback, but then also making sure that we were getting sort of facts and figures as well which were quantifiable. So that was quite a difficult project, but really exciting, really rewarding. We've got a much better understanding of our supply chain now. And this has actually led us on to a new project which is really innovative, which is the EU Geo Fair Trade project. And we are the only pilot for that which isn't a commodity. So the other pilots are coffee, tea, vanilla. And so we're looking at geotraceability in the fashion supply chain. So we've been taking GPS coordinates of the houses of all of our weavers, and we're also getting up to 100 different social, environmental and economic indicators which actually show the measurable improvement, or it might not even be an improvement. We're looking at using radar sensing technology to look at soil degradation and deforestation. So really looking at the impact the production is having, not just on the producers but on the surrounding land as well, to get really clear indicators of the effect which our production is having.
That sounds like a really interesting project.
It is, and I think it's taking traceability so much further than we've seen so far within the supply chain, because a lot of the traceability in fashion supply chains I think is very superficial, and I think having yearly indicators is going to show really measurable improvements.
Definitely. And can you tell us how this Fashion Week compares to the others that you've done?
It's been interesting so far. We have had a lot of interest, and the expansion of our felt hat collection is something quite new for us in terms of selling this as the main thrust of our autumn winter. But we have had a lot of interest and some Japanese buyers who are definitely placing orders. So I think it's still got a long way in terms of catching up with our Panama hats, which have grown for 80% this season. So still really strong, still growing, and a lot of demand, mainly exports overseas. But I think our felts are catching up, and I think, I'm very pleased. We've got a very strong collection, so I think it just needs time for the buyers to realise that we're more than just Panama hats.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time, Carrie, and I hope the rest of Fashion Week goes well for you.